This is Brevard Watch, the news experience focused exclusively on Florida's Space Coast. I'm Matt Reed. My thanks to Brevard Public Schools for making possible today's in-depth interview and headlines from across the Space Coast. Today, who says they took God out of our public schools? Helping set the record straight with me today is Christy Stewart, Executive Director of Love Inc. and Love Brevard. Love Inc., which stands for Love in the Name of Christ, is one of dozens of faith-based partners of Brevard Public Schools, and they've done some amazing work for our kids at campuses around Brevard. Christy will explain why, and we'll talk about how that jibes with the First Amendment. But first, a disclaimer for those new to the show. Brevard Watch is a nonpartisan program that endorses no candidates or any specific faith. We engage and educate by presenting a variety of perspectives. My observations and the opinions of my guests are our own. They are not the official position of the school board or Brevard Public Schools. Christy, I'm so glad you could join us here in the BPS TV studio. Give us a quick sort of primer here on who is Love Inc. of Brevard.
So Love Inc. is a nonprofit. It is an international organization. So we have 130 plus in the United States, 6 in Nairobi, Kenya. And we've been here in Brevard County for about 15 years. And so our mission is to mobilize local churches to change lives and communities in the name of Christ. So basically what that means is we want to bring people together with their gifts, talents, and resources to fill that mandate that Christ gives us to help people in need.
Now you were involved in the past year or so, I believe, in South Melbourne, like around University Park, is that correct?
Correct.
Describe what happened.
Okay.
What did you do?
So we have a service sect of Love Inc. called Love Brevard. And so it's a group of pastors and ministry leaders that come together once a month and pray and bring unity and service to our community. And so through prayer, we felt like we were supposed to reach out to University Park Elementary and ask what their needs were, how we could come alongside them and help them. And they had lots of needs. So we were able to go in and really help them out.
So you met the principal there, I'm sure, Anna Diaz.
Yes, she's wonderful.
And how did that conversation go? I mean, you said that they had lots of needs, but
Yes.
what did you hear?
So very, very gracious woman, really having high impact in that school, yet she's just been there for a small amount of time. She just welcomed us with open arms and was just thrilled that we were asking this question. So they had lots of classrooms that needed painting, lots of just upkeep on the grounds themselves. So we were able to go in and we painted about 23 classrooms for them, pressure washed the sidewalks, painted a new PE wall outside, remodeled their teacher's lounge, which
Nice.
needed a lot of attention. So it was a really great opportunity. We had about 29 churches come together.
Wow.
On actually 5 different weekends to come together and serve. And it was a really great time to see so many people come together in service to help the kids there at University Park.
I didn't know that you had worked that hard on so many different projects for that long with that many different interests involved.
Yes.
I mean, I had commented, it seems like University Park has really become a cause. And once a school becomes a cause like that for people's caring and giving and partnership, that's when you really can make a difference.
Yes.
What do you hope is an outcome there? I mean, you've given. I mean, did you get a chance to go back and watch people interacting with your good work, or?
Yes, well, the children have reached out to us with a beautiful plaque that they made with their fingerprints. And a thank you card, and just to hear just their words of thankfulness. And I know it's painting classrooms, and you think, what kind of effect can that really have? But we know that it has a subconscious effect on the kids that are in the classrooms. So really what our hope is that we really want to bring the immediate community around. There are already like 4 churches that are involved at the school and that help ongoing. And FIT has some presence there, but we really would love to bring in a lot more presence from the community so that when we leave a project, it has a lot of support from the community. That's our hope.
I think as a professional communicator that those kinds of upgrades do make a significant difference in the culture of a place.
Yes.
That if a parent is bringing their child to school there and they see the classroom that looks cared for, that people have pride in that school, that they can read and see what the mission of that place is, they're going to have more confidence in the place and potentially be more engaged in it. And that makes all the difference when families begin really getting engaged and feeling good about the place where they're taking their child to school.
Yes, and we also have a church that has come in and has a program that they're bringing. It's actually not church-led, it's about character. And so it's a musician that's coming in October 18th to the school during the day to share different character programs with the kids. And so that night we're hoping to bring in the parents of the kids as well and do a community outreach, and Love Brevard's hoping to be a part of that as well.
So here's the question that I think is one of the magic ones. What do people of faith get in return out of doing this work for a school?
Well, our whole motivation is to really come alongside people in need and service. So what we get from that is the satisfaction of knowing that we have made a difference, even if it's in the life of one child. You know, the schools really need a lot of support, and so to know that we're making things easier for the teachers as well, that's the satisfaction of it. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to bring that large number of people together for a specific cause. So it's a great reward overall. And of course, as you mentioned, the effect it has on the children, it's a wonderful thing to do.
Is your faith a motivator in doing that?
Absolutely.
How?
Absolutely. Well, Jesus was that example for us. He came and served and, paid a debt that we couldn't pay. And so there's lots of different scriptures that call us to go out. And we do it not just because we're called to, but that was the example that Christ gave us. And it's that love that comes through him that we want to, give that out to others. And we do that through service and prayer.
I think there's some people who get defensive about there being faith-based groups getting involved in schools because they think that organizations are coming in to proselytize their children. And everybody has a faith, or a lot of people do anyway, or they don't have any, and they just are defensive about that. Is that at any level, is that really a goal of the activity?
Not at all, not at all. We just want to go in and serve where there's an opportunity to serve. Everyone has, like you said, everyone has their own faith and what they're called to do. And they can either accept us or not. It's not about that. We don't even focus on that. We can't control what other people think of us and how they view our service. And so we just do what we're called to do.
Where to next? Where is your focus as Love Inc. Going now?
Love Brevard?
Yes.
Love Brevard?
I'm sorry, Love Brevard.
That's okay.
Yes.
Well, we pray each month to see what doors are being opened. And so we definitely see movement in the Rockledge area, and we definitely feel like we are to continue to focus on schools. Love Brevard has just been around for 3 years. In the first year, we do a big month of service. But throughout the year, we do lots of other service projects. But it's those 4 weeks and 1 month that we try to bring everybody together. And so the first year we did feeding children everywhere. But we really still feel like there's a great need in the schools. And so we're continuing to seek the Lord on what that might be. But there are a few schools in Rockledge and then a few schools in Palm Bay and possibly one here in Melbourne that we want to continue to come alongside and serve. But we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah, and so again, the model sounds like you act as a catalyst. Let's say you go to Rockledge and there is a school there, an elementary school or a middle school or whatever, and they have needs. So you bring the churches and groups that are already in Rockledge. They're already committed in various levels to serving their local communities.
Yes.
And show them a way.
Yes.
And act as sort of like I said, a catalyst in introducing them to the school, finding out what the school needs.
Yes. And because we have done so many service projects, we have the knowledge of how to put that together. So we do want to be that bridge and connect with the folks that are already serving there.
Do you have advice for any churches or faith-based organizations that are looking to get involved?
We actually have a informational luncheon coming up on September 24th. So, people can go on to the Brevard website, which is brevard.com, and get more information. And they can come to that luncheon and hear what we're all about and see how they might want to get involved.
When we come back, we'll talk more with Christy Stewart of Love Inc. about how religion found its way into Brevard Public Schools. But first, check out this BPS TV report by Mike Francisco about how Palm Bay Magnet High School has been transforming from the inside out.
So my name is Tracy Hunter. I am a 16-year-old junior at Palm Bay Magnet High School, and I am in JRTC, and I am in the Engineering 3 program. I'm not zoned for Palm Bay High, but what really caught my attention here was the engineering program. I love engineering. I've been so into it since I was younger in middle school. So when I heard that it was here, I just had to come here. No matter if I'm zoned for O'Galley or not, I still wanted to come here. My goal later on in life is to be a mechanical engineer in the Air Force, and our engineering program at Palm Bay and potentially being in the engineering program at FIT, it will help me a lot with communication and also how to better myself in the engineering field with the things that they can teach me at FIT and also the things that I've learned here already.
My full name is Jonathan Worden. I go by Jay. I've been at Palm Bay for 4 years. Started as a freshman, senior now, and I want to go into web development. I feel that Palm Bay has a nice rounded development of classes. The engineering classes we have here are not teaching you the industry standard of how to, build airplane parts. It's giving you the tools and then letting you understand and learn. It definitely provides you that avenue, but at the same time, it teaches you a skill that you don't already know and that will help you and benefit you in some way or another.
I'm Symphony Lindsay. I'm a senior here at Palm Bay. I am a dual enrolled student and I will be graduating with my AA. When I decided to go into the patient care assistant program and take my prerequisites, which is intro to health and advanced medical terminology, I was introduced to a lot of other aspects in the medical field and basically just paved my way into PCA. Being here at Palm Bay and having all of our STEM classes available to me, it has solidified my goals and it has just ensured me that I am on the right track. I'm actually exposed to patient care. I'm taking care of real people. I am affecting their health. I am affecting their life.
I'm Andres Medrano. I've been at Palm Bay for about a year and a half. I'm a senior in high school and I moved here from California, and it's really been a big transition for me. I really like Palm Bay because they offered a lot of high school involvement programs with other big companies such as Northrop and NASA, and I'm in engineering. Engineering is probably one of the best classes that I take here because they have such good involvement programs. Like right now I'm an intern at Northrop Grumman, and I thank my engineering class for that. I didn't have that opportunity before back in California. Palm Bay does really help with my experience of that and with different CAD design drawings and the different clubs they have here like robotics and TSA. They benefit a lot of people here.
This is Brevard Watch. I'm Matt Reed. You're watching BPS TV, which also airs Brevard County School Board meetings in their entirety. Love that sunshine. My guest today is Christy Stewart, Executive Director of Love Inc. and Head of Love Brevard. Love Inc., which stands for Love in the Name of Christ, is one of Brevard Public Schools' most supportive faith-based partners. Christy, again, thank you for joining us in the BPS TV studio. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. What was your journey? How did you get involved with this group? I think I saw on your website that you Went to UCF, and at one point you got your bachelor's degree in organizational communication and were working for grocery stores.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know, it's interesting how you can look back and see how pieces fall together to bring you to where you are today. So for myself, back in 2004, my family went through a crisis. My husband lost his job and had a very difficult time finding another job, and we found ourselves at the food bank, and we really relied on our church community who helped us with food cards and gas cards to really come around us. And I know that's what the body of Christ is called to do. And my husband and I had done that for years for others. We would make meals for people and, you know, donate money for, you know, cards to help support people. So it was a very humbling experience. Yet I knew that that was one of the resources that was out there to really come around people and help them. That's really what we call situational poverty. And so my husband got a job after, you know, 6 months, and our situation changed. But
that's a scary 6 months.
Yes, it was. It was
and you're
extremely
probably
hard.
afraid of being judged and the whole thing that comes with that experience.
Yeah, it wasn't really the judgment part of it. It was just the part of, you know, standing in a line and having to go in and, you know, prove that I fit into that category where I needed to, you know, pick out some cans of food. And it was just a very humbling experience. But I know that it was a great experience for me to go through, because it really prepared me for my role at Love Inc. And with Love Inc., we come alongside individuals and families, and we walk with them spiritually, physically, emotionally, relationally, so that they can be set free and become sustainable to have, you know, be whatever God has for their life. So God prepared me for this role. And how I came into this role is I had heard about the organization, and I wanted to volunteer. So I came to volunteer, and I volunteered as the volunteer coordinator for about 14 months. And then they hired me as their director of operations, and then their director of programs, and now I'm the executive director. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
All right, so one of my favorite little details in your bio on the Love Inc. website was that you are a surfer.
Yes.
You competed with the University of Central Florida surf team.
Yes, I did.
You still surfing?
And still surfing? Yes. We actually spent a bit of time in Hawaii this summer.
Wow.
Yeah, so got to do some surfing out there. Yes, I love it.
Family that surfs together stays together, right?
Amen. We all surf, all 5 of us.
So give me the bio on Love Inc. and Love Brevard. You said that this has been around for a while across the globe,
Yes.
but recently in Brevard County.
Yeah, so we've been in Brevard County for about 15 years. We currently have 49 partner churches. And we have a service piece of Love Inc. where we do service projects for individuals. Maybe it's cleaning or yard work, or tutoring or mentoring individuals within a family. And then about 3 years ago, a group of pastors came together and said, hey, let's come together in prayer and unity and service with all of Brevard to have a greater impact. And so that's how Love Brevard became a part of that service piece of Love Inc. It's serving a much larger group of people with a much larger group of people. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I think we talked in the last time about how somebody could get involved, or if they had questions. But it's to go to their website and check it out, and you've got some step-by-step kind of things that they can do, correct?
Yes, with Love Inc., it's loveincbrevard.com. Yes, lots
Okay.
of ways to get involved.
When you hear somebody say on talk radio or in a letter to the editor that our schools aren't what they used to be because they took God out of the schools, how do you react to that?
Well, I agree. I agree. Our founding fathers had very clear expectations and layouts, and when you remove that spiritual component, because we are all made up of all of those pieces, spiritual, physical, emotional, and relational, when you take a piece of that out, it's going to be splintered. And so I believe that's what we have seen.
It's just that moral compass or the sustaining spirit of faith in people's lives as they go through school.
Absolutely.
what you're
Yeah.
getting
I
at.
think there's been some kind of a fear in place of, what that might do, but it's really just the opposite. It brings that unity, it brings that peace. I think there's a greater spiritual, another spiritual work force, and that is, the dark side. You have the light side and the dark side.
Yeah.
So it's that when the light's removed, the darkness can overtake. So I think that's what we've seen.
It's tough for the public school system because on one hand you have this First Amendment that says you can't establish any particular faith as government employees in a public school classroom. But on the other hand, those teachers, those principals are people of faith themselves. They go to church and they welcome in organizations like yours. So maybe it's coming back into the schools a little bit by way of example and good work.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
And that is perfectly fine.
Yes,
with the First
absolutely. Absolutely.
let me ask you this. How would you feel? I mean, I think people have a lot of stereotypes about things. I mean, you're a Christian group,
Yes.
largely, but how would you feel? Does your group work with groups of other faiths, for example? Or how would you feel working side by side on a project with people who are Jewish or Mormon or Hindu or Muslim?
So as far as La Vinc goes, we are a Christian organization, but anybody that we serve can be any religious background, any gender, any ethnic background. We want to serve everybody. As far as the groups go with Brevard, we are also coming in the name of Christ.
Yeah.
So we do ask people, churches that partner with us, to agree with the Apostles' Creed. So if people of other faiths want to come and serve alongside of us at one particular project at the same time, I'm not sure exactly what that would look like. It may be that I'm not sure. I haven't really thought of that question.
But you're not trying to get the students or people in the classroom, as we said before, that's not part of the mission here. It's to do good work.
It is to do good work. And actually, when we're doing the service projects, the children aren't even there. We're doing it on the weekend because we have such a large group of people. We bring in those large groups of people when the children are not there.
That's a lot of FBI background checks you'd have to pay for and do if you were going to bring an army of people from outside while kids were there. And so you're right, that's a super good point.
But we do, individually want to go on and mentor the children. And again, the motivation is to serve and help that child and help that teacher. It's not, it's to serve in the love of Christ, not to, try to apostle. I always have a hard time saying that word.
Yes. I do a terrible job with it too. Let's talk a little bit about your what you see in Brevard County as a whole. You're going into places that need help. And what do you make of this? I see a paradox in Brevard County right now. Our economy is going great guns. And unemployment's so low, it's almost full unemployment. We've recovered from the space shuttle layoffs. Construction appears to be back. And yet, it seems like rates of child poverty in some places are as high as ever. And in places that you wouldn't expect, like including even on the Barrier Island, in some parts of Indialantic, for example. Do you see that? What do you make of the situation here?
I really believe it's the splintering of the family. So when I hear from the teachers and the principals, a lot of the issues that they're having with the children, we know begin at home. And so that's really La Vinc's focus, is that we want to be able to journey with the parents to help them get sustainable, knowing that that's going to build a stronger family for that child. And of course, that's going to bleed over to their educational, experience as well. So I think there's a lot of things that come in play. I look at, what's happening with social media and,
Right.
the whole electronic age for our children. I think there's a lot of different factors in play. Lots of families that don't have a father. There's a lot of different things that come into play.
If you could change, it's a tough question now, if you could change or improve one thing about Brevard Public Schools, or even just your neighborhood school, what would it be?
I got to think about this.
Honest.
I think that one of the biggest detrimental things that has happened has been the focus on the testing and the requirements that then feed into the teachers. And I think a lot of the educational process has changed based on a testing score. And I think that it has been detrimental for the school system. I mean, I see it in the pressure on the teachers, and of course the children as well.
I think we're all taking stock of the amount of testing and assessment that goes
Yes.
on. And I know that part of our legislative agenda at Brevard Public Schools is to try to find some ways to make a little more common sense happen there and take some of the pressure off.
Yes.
Christy Stewart, thank you so much for joining us today. I loved having you on the program, and it's so great to get your perspective.
Thank you so much for having me.
Keep up the great work, and we look forward to seeing you around our school system in the near future.
Thank you so much, Matt.
My thanks again to Brevard Public Schools for making this third season of Brevard Watch possible. I'm Matt Reed. Our producer and photographer is Mike Francisco. I'll leave you with this tip. You can get highlights of Brevard Watch right in your phone's newsfeed by liking the Brevard Public Schools Facebook page.